Hello, hello. My name is Sharp Eyes,
And I am Crucifix.
and that is
Pixel.
What's up, Pixel?
Pixel. Welcome
Yeah.
to WeCast, where we cast.
Your games.
Absolutely. So Chris, what are we doing tonight?
We are going to help Pixel here become a better StarCraft player.
Absolutely, because we value your skill.
We do indeed. So, this is a replay. This is a as far as we know, this is going to be a ZVT. Should be good.
Yep,
And do a little replay analysis action.
yep. But Crucifix, I think you're forgetting something.
Oh no, what am I forgetting?
I think that you have to tell the official joke of the episode.
Oh gosh, this is not a thing. That is not a thing. Okay, here's a joke for you. What does a cow say? What does a cow say when it gets hit by a train?
No
It
idea.
says moo. It's because it gets hit by the train, can't finish the moo. Yeah, pretty good.
Well, that's
Oh, yeah.
That was probably the worst joke I've heard all
Hey,
day.
put me on
I'm
the
actually
spot.
gonna print that out, get it framed, and hang it on my wall.
Okay, sounds good.
Have it ordered.
So Crucifix, thank you for the awesome joke of the episode.
You're welcome. It's
And
gonna
so
be the joke. That's gonna be the joke every single time.
Alright, so without further ado, let's get this coaching lesson started.
Okay.
Launch away.
Moo. Okay. So this was back when you were in shining bronze. You have gotten to silver since then, but
That is correct.
the lessons then will be the same lessons now, most likely.
Yeah, it's not that much of a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And I do believe I actually went for the early roach rush in this game, if I recall correctly.
Gotcha.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead and do it on 2x speed.
Alright.
Awesome.
So, in ZVT, what is your go-to strategy?
Well, I find that going for early roaches is the strategy that I can execute well in every matchup but CVC. And
No, I
I
see.
think that it's possibly problematic though for me to be only doing like one main build, because I'm afraid if I do that too much I might get reliant on like a cheesy build and I'm not going to be able to actually improve my mechanics that much. So
Right.
looking for some variety, but that's what I've been doing a lot lately with great success.
Yeah, the early roach rush really punishes Protoss and Terran if they go for a fast expand. So,
And almost all Terrans go for a fast expand, but this one is not actually. He's going for double barracks. So he has gas, probably Reaper play or something, or
Yeah, I
just
don't-
let's see. He's probably just going for a fast factory or something. But I don't know. Scouting in the lower leagues isn't that helpful. Like even now as I watch, I don't know what he's doing because it's not a normal build like that you'd ever see. And so like that's why scouting because you'll see him doing something and you'll be like, oh, that's this build, and it turns out he's just doing a different build really badly. So, but like the main things you want to look for are like, does he have an expansion? Does he have a natural? Okay, he doesn't have a natural. That means he's that means he's obviously trying to do early pressure, or
Okay.
does make sure when he takes his third, stuff like that. But you don't necessarily need to look at his buildings and say, oh, he's definitely going to do cloaked banshee, because you have no idea if he's going to do that or not
Right.
until you actually see the banshee.
so go ahead and pause the game here.
Alright. How?
You can go ahead and press P.
P. Oh, my bad.
So, so I noticed that you actually lost your Overlord over here at around 5 minutes or so,
Mhm.
and losing an Overlord this early will, set you back quite a bit, because you really need those minerals early game, and being forced to produce one more Overlord can really set you back. So what I'd recommend is putting one Overlord right here
Okay.
to check if he's expanded or not, and then put one overlord right here to fly in at around the 6:45 mark.
When you can just sacrifice it, like it doesn't matter.
Okay.
If you don't want it to die, but if it does, it's not the end of the world.
Yep.
Oh, on a similar note, when should I use an overlord to scout, and when should I use a drone? That matter.
Okay, so for a drone scout, you want to drone scout at around 10 supply. So as soon as your supply gets to 10, send a drone over, and then try to harass his SCV that's building barracks, because as Crucifix can attest to, that is one of the most annoying things as a Terran player.
Sometimes I'll actually cut SCVs, like cut one SCV so that I can make an early supply depot so that I don't get harassed. So like if you send like a 10 supply drone over and like look at what he's got going on and then start harassing his barracks SCV, it can really throw some players off, like their entire build. So
yeah, and versus players goalie or below, one drone can actually take out 1 to 2 SCVs. So
yeah, if they don't micro correctly, and like you don't even have to worry about microing it. Just kind of shift command around their mineral line to see what's going on, and then right click on the barracks SCV, and then just go back to macroing. Like don't even pay attention to it because at that point, and then kind of just check on it and see if it's gonna die or not, and then maybe take his gas or like bring your drone back or something like that.
Yeah, and so basically, your first overlord should be sent right here.
Right.
And then your second overlord should be right here. To check for any proxy buildings or bunkers or cannons or what have you.
Right.
And then your third overlord should be sent right here.
And then that'll just give you really good map control at the start of the game.
Yeah. So to answer your question, drone scout at 10.
Okay.
At 6:45, pop this overlord into his base, and then check if he's going mass barracks or banshee tech, or and then try to react to that. And then at 10 minutes, you want to send one more overlord into his base, just to confirm that what he's going is actually what he's going. He's not trying to juke you somehow, stuff like that.
Sharp Eyes, can you put like 10 more waypoints on the map for us? Like
Sure.
I think it'd be helpful. Perfect. That's
go.
great. Yep, perfect. Yep, great. Okay, let's let's continue. Yeah.
Okay. It's about that
Oh my
time.
gosh.
Game resumed.
Okay. So he is gonna go back into his base, make you fight up the ramp. Yeah. So the main reason this doesn't work out for you is because since he went one base pressure as well. Like I think it's a little Terran can get a lot out real early. So like when they decide to go one base pressure, it's sometimes it can be more effective than a Zerg's. Like if it's the Roach thing, if it's Banelings, like you probably would have just crushed that force just because. Because like low league players aren't very good at microing, and also you don't want to be like trying to fight up this ramp right here if like he has a lot of stuff, because see, like once you got up the ramp you only have one Roach left. So really what you could have done there was maybe start like a contain of sorts like outside his ramp and with your Roaches, so that he can't like to clear that he would have had to like go down his own ramp, and then that would have been like the opposite. But now he just gets to do whatever he wants. And so I would have said maybe just set up some sort of contain at his natural, and he would probably break it eventually, but you would have delayed his natural expansion by like a long time.
Okay, that's a good point.
You do have good map control. That's really good. Like a lot of players don't do this, so it's good.
On a similar note, though, how do I know when I have like trouble balancing out the importance of attacking like sooner in the game rather than waiting until I build up a larger force? Is that just something that I need to gauge, or is there something like tricks I should know about that to figure out when?
Well, I have some ideas about that, but Sharp Eyes, when do you usually do early pressure, or do you do early pressure?
So let's see. Go ahead and pause the game real quick.
Okay.
Game paused.
So basically with that roach build, you're kind of locking yourself into an all or nothing build. Um, if the roach rush works, then you're in a really good position and you might win. If it doesn't work, then you're pretty far behind. So what I personally would recommend is look up a early roach timing attack build order that has two bases. So that way, you're still expanding early on, but also using a roach timing attack. Because I noticed that with this particular replay, you were on one base, you attacked with your roaches, you failed, and then you were forced to build your second expansion very very late. So
Okay.
what I'd recommend is first find a build order that has an early expo and a roach timing, and then like I said earlier, at around 6:45, poke your head in there, check if he has a ton of defenses, a ton of units.
Yeah.
If not, then go ahead and hit him. If he does, hang back, take a third, and then macro, macro, macro.
Yeah, and you can set up a contain outside of his natural while you take a third and to deny his third. And if he ever tries to take one secretly or something, you'll have that map control, which you're already pretty good at. You'll know that, and you'll be able to pressure that with your roaches. And I think you'll find that a 2-base roach push will be, it's so strong. Like you can have like a lot of roaches out with like the 2-base economy, and if you get it, if you're good enough to be able to spend all your minerals and you get those larva injects and you get all the roaches out you can, I think you'll find that your 2-base roach rush will be much stronger than your 1-base. Even though it's going to be a little later, it's going to be with a lot more roaches. And I think you'll find that a lot of times you'll be able to at least kill their natural or force a lift off. And then you can be at a position where you kill their natural expansion, and don't necessarily try to push up their ramp. Go ahead and take your third base, and now you're 3-base against 1, and it's going to be really hard for them to keep up with you at that point.
Just as a quick note, though, when you're saying map vision, are you meaning? I'm sorry, map control. Are you referring to having vision of the map, or something
Yeah,
else?
it's basically because of where your overlords are placed, you have vision of whatever's going on. So you'll know when having map control means that you'll always know what's happening on the map at all times. So
Okay.
you'll know when he's going to take his third, and you'll know when he's pushing out. And the only thing you don't know is exactly what's going on in his base, and that's not expected. Like when someone talks about map control.
Yeah.
Okay.
So pretty much. If you want to know whether or not you have map control, ask yourself, am I afraid to march my army to his base? If
Yeah,
yes, then you don't have map control.
Yeah. Like if on the way to his base you think you can get hit by any on any angle because you're not sure what's where, like then you don't have it. But like right now you definitely do.
Okay.
And one more note, I noticed that your main base is actually at 22 miners on mineral,
Yeah.
and your expo is at 11.
It should be
So
16.
yeah, so you always want to transfer that over. And I also noticed that your gas count's really really high. So
Okay.
your main priority should be to saturate your mineral patches and then get those gases going, not gases and then minerals.
I got
Yeah,
you.
I mean you can like I like to keep like 2 extra like harvesters at my main because when you go to make buildings, you don't want to be unsaturated. But and so like that'll just help you because if you're gonna a lot of people will rally their main they'll rally their main uh, they'll rally their main base to their natural, and then that way when they make harvesters it'll just go over there to start to saturate it after they get to 16 or 18. And so I like to get to a couple extra and then rally it over there. And if I ever find myself below 16 again, I'll just re-rally. But like it's kind of annoying to have to re-rally every time you make a building. So like
Right.
that's why I like to keep a couple extra at the main.
Okay.
Yep. And also one more point.
Okay.
So this right here, the 2 spine collars and the 2 evo chambers should be down here. And you definitely want one or two spines at each mineral line. but you definitely want the bulk of your defenses to be at the front of your base.
Where's that?
Oh,
Like,
so
okay.
yeah, so you want it to be outside of your natural
Okay.
because let's say the Terran player decides to push out. Um, right now, he can just walk on in and then kill your natural, and then
Right.
it's pretty much over.
Yeah, he could
But-
stim in, kill your natural, and run away without too much damage.
But
I can understand.
yeah,
Go ahead.
but if you have these Evo chambers and these spine collars, what he's forced to do is first kill these spine collars, and then so basically these Evo chambers are in the way, so he's forced to kill them, and when they explode, little dudes come out. So he's forced to like fight all these guys over and over again, buying you time to make units.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like you're getting the DPS from the static defense, you're getting the DPS from the spawnlings or whatever they're called, and then you're also and then that also buys you time to get actual army units out. So by the time he gets through the wall, he's already taken all that damage, and now you have actual army units. So that's why it's really good to keep those at the front base.
Are you suggesting that I like wall off with the Evo chamber, or
It's not a full wall off, but it's a it's not a full wall off, is it?
Actually, in most CVT games, I actually do a complete wall off with 2 Evo chambers, 1 Roach Warren, and 1 Spine Collar, because you can always move your Spine Collar. So it's kind of like a Zealot in a Protoss wall off. You can always move it to move in and out. So it's there's really nothing wrong with a full wall off. So
Interesting.
Well, that's not a bad idea. I mean, then if you wanted to, you could do like, instead of the Roach Warren, you could do a different, like you could do maybe 3 spines or just whatever you wanted to. But that's just an example.
Right. Okay.
Depending on your build order.
Cool.
Okay, let's go ahead and keep going.
All right.
Game resumed.
So it's looking like you're going to put some spines at the front of your base, which is good. Terran player went Planetary Fortress as natural, which isn't usual, but
I
whatever.
think part of the reason why I selected this replay actually now in hindsight is I wanted to get a little bit of advice on how to transition into mid and late game. Because I'm kind of reliant on my early game push either
Like working,
not.
yeah.
Like, if that does not work and I take another base, how do I try to ease into different army comp for mid to late game?
Right. Well, you already have your Roach Warren up, and I see you're building your Spire like right now, which is good. I mean, you're basically doing what you needed to. You took your expansion, you went into layer tech, you start to build a Spire. You might even want like a Baneling. You probably want a Baneling nest down as well, because Banelings against Terran in the lower leagues is extremely good.
I
so you
definitely
should
need to work on that because I've had very little success with Banelings. I try to avoid them, but I know.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah. Well, speed is super important in Banelings, so that's one thing. But yeah, I would just say that number one, your mineral count is super high, so like you do want to try to be making. Hello?
Yeah. Sure.
Okay, I don't know. Okay, you do want to try to be making as many units as you can, like as time goes on, because like your minerals and gas are just so high right now that
Get like another macro hatch or something right now.
yeah, you should definitely be getting like a macro hatch and then take an expansion so you can have access to that larva too. You don't even like and then maybe even make 2 macro hatches. Like just whatever you need to do to spend those minerals is what you should be doing. Like even if it's not like something that you've seen like a lot of pros do or whatever, like that doesn't really matter. Like whatever helps you to spend your minerals is what you like need to be doing.
Okay.
So let's see what happens here. It looks like he's going to take your layer down, which is unfortunate.
yeah, I'd probably say the biggest tip that I can give you this game is try to get to 200 as soon as you can, and also as soon as you figure out that he has expanded at his natural, take a third and then saturate it.
All right. So if I have like base advantage on him, then that means I can trade armies and replenish them quicker. Is that
Yep.
the
Yep.
theory?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Right. So yeah, like when you took your natural expansion, I think you actually beat him to it because he didn't take his natural, or at least it was very close. he didn't. He was one basing as well. So when you went over there with your roach rush and you saw that he hadn't expanded either, is the reason why like he was able to defend it well. And so at that point you're like, oh, okay, well he doesn't have a natural either. So you're actually not that far behind economically.
Right.
So you can just be like, okay, well I'm not that far behind. I'm just going to take my natural expansion, and he's probably not going to move out right now because I just killed the majority of his army. So that's when you can just take your natural, tech up to layer as fast as you can, and then get that macro hatch up. Build like, versus Terran, you probably want a couple spore crawlers at each base because of how big drop play is.
Yeah.
And then maybe some spines, and then concentrate on really getting those larva injects as often as you can to help you spend your minerals.
So, are you saying that in the beginning of the game, when I noticed he did not have a natural, I should have not attacked and just taken
No,
the
you.
riches?
Well, you should poke and prod. You caught him like running on the map, and so like when that was the case, like I felt like the army was big enough. Like I felt like it was you were right to follow him, because I felt like if you had fought in the middle of the map right there, you would have won that fight. But then he went back to his base and made you fight up a ramp, and he reinforced it while you fought, and so that's why he was able to win. And so like one thing that's really hard for players is to know when to like retreat. And so when you realized that his army was going to beat yours was when you should have retreated back to your base, thrown up a couple spine crawlers, continued to pump out units, and if he followed you, you could do exactly what he just did to you.
Okay.
So yeah, just retreat if you don't think you're gonna win. I'm not saying don't attack. If he might just be bad, so that's why he doesn't have his expansion yet. So poke in there. If it goes well, good. If especially when you're trying to get up his main ramp, it's sometimes it's hard because he might, if he has a tank, in position, like just turn around immediately, because there's no way, unless like he has it put in a really bad spot where you can just pick it off real quick. But yeah, so you basically just want to poke in there with your early pressure, your 2-base roach rush. If he doesn't have an expansion and you're already at his base with a 2-base roach rush, you'll probably win the game. Like, unless he's doing something crazy, and it could turn into like some sort of base trade scenario. But yeah, I would recommend just poking in there, seeing if you can do some damage. If you can't, set up a contain outside of his base when he tries to take his expansion. Don't let him until he comes at you with overwhelming force, and at that point, just walk back to your base.
Okay, so if I'm in a situation where I'm pretty confident I have a base advantage on him, I should just force engagements and reinforce, like.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if you have
fight.
two bases and he only has one, and you can force like an actual you can force an actual army to army in like combat.
Right.
Like army to army combat where you're not getting just decimated. Like if you can trade semi efficiently, like then you'll be in a good position.
Okay. Cool. You ready for the next replay?
Yeah.
All right. Here you go.
I think the reason like you didn't see that drop coming was just because of like not looking at your mini map, because it went over your overlord, like you just didn't see it. And
Okay,
so
yeah.
like I think that like just like when you find like especially on that map, like he's always going to come from that side, because that's it's really easy to take a medevac and go right across like that right into your main. And so like that's a really good place to put like 2 spore crawlers, like right on the edge, and then maybe another one like a little bit closer to your mineral line, and then one at your mineral line, and so that way his medevac has to go over all of them, and then it'll just die. So.
Okay. Cool. I'll definitely keep that in mind. You ready?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Cool.
But yeah, I would say like in the future, if you ever find yourself with way too many minerals, like just start building hatches, like either in your base or outside your base, but wherever. Like just start building Evo. Like if you don't have any Evo chambers, build those. If you don't have enough drones, build those. But if you have enough of both, just start building hatches and tech buildings and getting upgrades and stuff like that.
All right.
So this will be some ZVP action.
Let's go ahead and 2x that as well.
Oh yeah, my bad.
No problem. Protoss does enjoy their cheese, so we'll see if we get some of that going on.
Now, what kind of cheese would they enjoy, actually? Would it be
Probably
Gouda?
a little bit of Gouda, a little bit
A
of
little bit
cheddar.
of the Cannon Rushy variety.
Yeah, the Cannon Rushy Gouda variety. Maybe a little bit of dark cheese.
Pretty bad for someone who's lactose.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
I am definitely Protoss lactose intolerant.
And I don't actually remember what build I go this game, so I guess we'll find out. And this is kind of a broad question, but what are the different like variables that will determine whether or not I should go Roach or Ling, just in general? Is that
good.
kind of preference
Pause here.
or
Go ahead and pause for a second.
okay?
Game pause.
Okay, so Roach or Ling, you were asking?
Yeah, this would be like before I'm in the very early game, before I can actually react to anything. Does that
So,
just matter of preference to go like early speed on Lings or to get the early Roach Warren?
so versus Protoss, you definitely don't want to get Zergling speed early, because you really can't punish them if they're going for a Forge Fast expand.
Okay.
So
Because of the cannon, you'll just never get anywhere with them.
Right.
yeah, so versus Protoss, what you want to do is you want to toss up a Roach Warren at around the 6-minute mark, usually, just to prepare for a push in, or just to harass them with it. But let's see. So right here, versus Protoss, I think that your build order that you should use would be a 14 pull into a 15 hatch.
Okay.
And then try to saturate both bases. And then at the 6-minute mark, take 3 gases, and then toss up a Roach Warren and 1 Spine Crawler at each base. And then I think that if executed properly, that build order should take you right on out of silver.
All right.
Yep.
I don't want to ask too many questions all in a row, but also, when should I take my second gas, assuming that I don't have a desperate need for gas? Is that just a thing that I should take whenever I have?
Well, if you don't need it, like if you don't need it and you don't think you're gonna need it for a while, that you don't take it just to take it, because you don't want to be in a position where you have too much gas and no mineral. You know?
So like
Right.
versus Protoss, you don't need that gas early. So just don't get gases until at least 6 minutes.
Okay.
Which,
And then maybe you could even take both at that point. Like
yeah.
if
So like at 6 minutes, you have to get triple gas.
like 3 at 3, and then you'll be able to start building all of those good gas units. But you want as many minerals as you can early game.
Yeah. So like it's kind of like Crucifix. You sometimes do the 1 Rax fast expand, and that doesn't get gas until 6 minutes too, right?
It gets double gas at 5 minutes actually.
Oh, okay. So yeah. So the Zerg build is triple gases at 6 minutes, which is about the same thing.
Yeah, basically, because you're getting more gas just later.
Yep.
All right.
Okay, so yeah, let's continue.
Game resumed.
Protoss player just chooses to opt out of Chrono Boost almost this entire game. So, have you always played Zerg, or did you start out as a different race?
I did not. I've only been playing the game for about 2 months now, and I've
Oh,
not
okay.
really played any other race. thus
Oh,
far.
okay.
Yeah. I played
Why'd
a
you pick
little bit-
Zerg? Any reason?
What again?
Is there any reason you picked Zerg, or you just decided, hey, this looks cool?
Pretty much that, and
Oh,
I
okay.
definitely would like to play the other races just so I have like knowledge of how they work.
Yeah, me too.
It's
Like
very
I
helpful to know.
actually need to do that. I actually need to do that a lot more because like I've played all the races, but not just not even close to as much as I've played Terran. So
Yeah.
let's see. Oh yeah, you're gonna win this game. Oh, I see Oracle. That's difficult. But Oracles aren't even that good against roaches, right? Like it'll probably run out of energy before it can even kill that many.
Hey, honestly, I have no idea what happens here. I don't remember. It's a pretty long game. Not that long.
Yeah, it is kind of long, but I'm
There's an end
surprised.
right here. Yeah.
I don't know how. Like you killed every probe.
I say GG.
Like-
Oh my god.
Yeah, so right here, what you want to be doing is you want to be getting these pylons, especially this early in the game. Like, by getting it is good that you got the Stargate just so he couldn't get any more void rays. But by not getting the pylons, that means that when he kills these, like, if you got the pylons instead of trying to get his nexus, which I'm sure you do get,
Right.
I'm actually very surprised that this game is not over. Like he can't afford to build a new Nexus. Oh, he already has one. That's why. Okay. And so, but I'm just saying, like by getting the pylons, like right when you get into the base, like after you kill the probes, you can make sure he's not making any more army units behind your back. And then he also has to rebuild those he also has to rebuild all of them, and then all of his buildings don't work. Because if you had gotten the pylon that was connected to the Stargate before the Void Ray when it came out, the Void Ray never would have even come out, and then you'd have all your roaches. So like when you're fighting a Protoss opponent, like it's like probes and then pylons.
Yeah. I actually don't know why I picked this replay. This might have been a slight mistake, but
That's all good.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you're doing it. Oh, I see. He kills all your drones as well with his Oracle.
Oh, right. Okay.
And so let's see. Did you?
So we're in
I
a
see.
relatively equal situation right now.
Now, did you see his oracle come in or no?
I'm assuming I didn't.
Yeah, you were probably just concentrating on your roaches.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, does he have another Stargate, or is just this the same Oracle from the beginning of the game?
I believe that's the same one, but I have no idea.
Okay. Yeah, he doesn't have any Stargate, but like, it's kind of funny because you don't have any anti-air, but he doesn't have like nearly enough. Oh, rude. But the thing is, like, you have less buildings than he does, but it looks like you might have. Yeah, I don't know. This could actually be close. Let's see. No, it's dead.
Yeah,
I don't
and
have
he's
any
dead.
protection anyway, so.
Yeah, he's dead. He should have built pylons though. Oh, he didn't have any probes. That's why. Okay, but yeah, that's just your basic base trade scenario. But yeah, the only the big thing I would say in that game was just instead of going for the game would have ended a lot sooner if you had gone for the pylons after you killed the probes.
Okay.
And if you want to prioritize the pylons you kill the ones that are connected to buildings that make army units basically.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's do one more Sharp Eyes, or are we out of time?
Let's see, we've been in call for 40 minutes, so we probably have
Okay. Great.
Yeah, I think we have time for one more.
Okay, let me go get some water real quick while you get that set up.
Alright.
I can accept the download if you have it ready.
I don't quite have it ready yet.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Trying to find a long one. Or. Huh. Oh, here. It's a mirror matchup. That's probably a good one to try. Oops. Bloody. Goddamn. Alright. Watch those.
So, what do you think of ZVZ? Are you pretty good at it or no?
No, it's definitely what I would consider to be my worst matchup.
Oh, okay. And what kind of unit composition do you usually go for?
Well, I tend to go for a roach heavy composition, and I generally lose to a more ling heavy composition.
Ah, okay. Yeah, in ZVZ, the current meta is actually Ling Bane into roaches. So pretty much, if you're losing to a Ling heavy composition, then toss a few Banelings in there, and then call it a day.
Okay. We'll definitely try that. And again, I remember nothing about this game, so hopefully it'll be a good one.
Let's go ahead and put it on 2x speed.
Okay, let's do it. So you really want to have like 12 Ultralisks out by now? So like work on that.
My bad.
Yeah.
Way behind.
So what would you say is your worst matchup, like in general?
Definitely CVC.
Yeah, okay. Zerg is hard for like every race. Like to go against.
Is that because you have to play different, like more differently than the other two?
Yeah,
Or-
like with TVT, it's like for me, like with TVD, it's pretty easy because it's just okay, get medevacs and tanks, and whoever has more like tanks wins. And then with Protoss, until they get Colossi out, they don't really have a dedicated unit against Bio. So like with early pressure, it's real easy against Protoss. And then once they get Colossi out, you just get a bunch of Vikings, and you're pretty good to go. But like with Zerg, like for me, I can't go Bio versus Zerg at all because of Banelings. I'm not good enough with micro to be able to split against them, and so I usually go Mech versus Zerg, and then like even with Mech, like if I go Mech and then they go Swarm Hosts, then like it's really hard to deal with. So it's just like it's kind of I feel like Zerg has an easier time versus Terran than Terran does versus Zerg most of the time. But
Alright.
that's just because I'm bad at it, I guess. like TVZ in general.
Yeah, Blizzard is pretty good with balancing. So don't get us wrong. Like there isn't any balance issues. It's just that
Player to player.
some units are easier to control than others, and Banelings are just very, very powerful.
Yeah. And Blizzard has to both balance it for like they have to balance it for all leagues. So like if they were
don't.
They basically just balance it for like the best people, and then the lower leagues kind of just have to deal with it, I guess, because I guess the balance is most important in the pro arena is where it's like where it matters the most. So
That's true of any competitive game, though. They're all
exactly
the highest level of play.
Yeah, and that's the way it should be, just because the game should be like you should be held back by your own skill, not by the game. Like at all points in time.
Yeah, because I mean, like honestly, if Blizzard balanced for Bronze League, the pros would have a
Like,
much
leave the
easier
game.
time.
Yeah, like if they were trying to like balance for like bronze and like bronze through gold, like they would just take Balines out of the game because they're just so good in lower leagues. But like, um, just because versus Terran bio. So you did. It looks like you did do like sort of like a 2-base
Yeah,
roach
I
rush
definitely
here.
went for a 2-base approach here.
Nice spore crawler.
Here's some,
Took out all
definitely a
those.
question I've been wondering.
Mhm.
In what situation should I go Roach Hydralist as opposed to Roach Mutalist? What are the different things
So,
that...
are you talking about ZVZ specifically, or in all
Not
matches?
specifically.
Not
I'm sorry?
specific.
Oh, non-specifically. Okay, so Roach Hydra is a very powerful composition. It's really bad versus Class I, unless you have Vipers or Corruptors in the mix, and it's also really bad versus tanks unless you have Vipers in the mix. So, but at your level, Roach Hydra is a very powerful composition. Um, but also Mutalisks are also really good. If so, so basically either go Roach Hydra, and Roach Hydra, Viper, Corruptor, or Ling, Muta, Baneling, whichever you're more comfortable with. But don't try to go both because chances are you won't have enough gas for both Roach Hydra and Mutalisks.
Okay. So, if I already have Roaches, then I'm trying to look for an anti-air solution, I should go for Hydralists over Mutalists in general. Correct?
Only if you feel comfortable with Vipers.
I do not feel comfortable with Vipers or
Okay,
Corruptors.
then only if you know that your opponent doesn't have tanks or Colossi, because
Okay.
Roach Hydra gets demolished by tanks and Colossi.
Gotcha.
Yeah, mutes are really good. Like in general, just like against if you can poke them in and out of the base, keep them away from packs of Marines, they can do like so much damage.
I notice a trend in these replays, in that your base always gets killed somehow.
Yeah.
Like your main base.
So I I think mid game, if you find that your mineral count gets pretty high, toss up 2 to 3 spine crawlers and 1 to 2 spore crawlers at each base.
Okay. I think I would definitely benefit from that.
hmm Yeah, like, because it's really helpful. Like, static defense is really helpful for when you're trying to go for a big push, and you don't have to worry about it's really good for you don't have to worry about 4 zealots running in and just being able to do whatever they want. Because for them to do actual damage, they're gonna have to commit a bigger force than that, which is what you want. Because that means there's less at their main base to defend. So.
All right.
Okay. So yeah, I would say also like that game. Yeah, I just think more static defense would have helped you a lot, and then your mineral count got high as well. But that was more towards the end of the game when things were kind of going out of control. But try to make sure that even when you're trying to react to an unexpected situation, make sure to try to keep macroing and spending your minerals, because when you're getting attacked is when you want to be making units the most to replace those units. So if you stop unit production and you stop pro production while they're harassing you, then you're making their harassment twice as effective.
All right.
It's hard
Are there
to do
any
that.
other general tips that
Oh, yeah.
you think I should know?
We haven't even done the 6 sexy tips yet.
Oh, okay. Wonderful.
but generally, so just in that game, specifically, you kind of both went for some sort of early pressure, and his I think you had mutas out and he had roaches at one point, right? Or was it the other way around?
I had roaches and he had mutas.
Oh, okay. And so yeah, he just kind of caught you with your pants down just because you had no anti-air and he had only air, so it was pretty hard. But yeah, I would say with Zerg, against Zerg, you should basically expect mutas to be coming out at about the 10-minute mark, and if you don't have any anti-air by that time, then you're gonna get in trouble. So make sure that you get some hydras or mutas of your own, or however you and Sharp Eyes decided on that. Just make sure you get that anti-air out on your own, like by that time. Or a little after, depending on your scouting information. If you know he doesn't have a Spire, then you don't have to build anti-air of your own. But if you don't know if he has one or not, then just assume.
Gotcha.
Okay, so Sharp Eyes, you there?
Yep.
Okay, you wanna do these? You wanna do some sexy tips?
Yep. Some sexy tips, or 6 sexy
Ooh.
tips for better gameplay.
Sounds good.
Starting with you, Crucifix, number 1.
Okay, number one, your creep spread was okay, but it could be better, especially in the longer games. Like, I felt like you did do it, but then, like, as the game progressed, like, if your early pressure didn't work, you just, like, kind of, like, you just gave up on creep spread. And it's so important. Like, it's so good because, it just helps you in every way imaginable. So I would say prioritize creep spread, like, maybe number 3. Like as far as how important things are, like pro production, like spending minerals, pro production, making army units, and then creep spread probably. So 4.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Need to work on that.
Point number 2, or sexy tip number 2.
Mm-hmm.
So like I was saying earlier, try to find a good 2-base build, and pretty much, I think that actually you can actually do this in every game. So usually you'll want different build orders versus every race, but since you're at a silver level, basically 14 pool, 15 hatch, and then saturate both your main and your natural.
Okay.
And then at the 6-minute mark, toss up triple gas, while getting
and a Roach Warren probably.
getting map control. Oh yeah, and a Roach Warren, getting map control, and then basically trying to practice your macro by either massing roaches and killing him outright, or macroing up behind that.
Yeah, and if you throw those, at 6 minutes, if you throw up triple gas and a Roach Warren, and then you make a bunch of roaches and go attack at about 8 minutes, like without it, you can you should go to ghost2builds.com and look up a specific 2-base roach build. But if you don't want to, like just doing what Sharp Eyes said just now, and then throwing up 3 gas plus a Roach Warren, and then making a bunch of roaches and attacking at 8 minutes, I think you'll find that you'll have really good success with that.
Yeah,
It's funny you mentioned that, because this is a build I've been using for a long time. I forgot where exactly I got it, but I think that maybe I just wasn't good at executing it at the time. But it seems very similar to what you just did.
Yeah, because I mean, basically, it's a really open-ended build. So once you have triple gas, you can take up to Lair. You can go Mutas, you can go Roach Hydra, you can go Mass Ling, to Bailing. Like, you could do 2-base all in. You could expand behind that and then do a triple base all in.
Well, by the time you're at triple base, I don't think you can really call it an all in anymore, can you? I guess.
Well, sometimes people will actually get the triple base but not saturated, so that's a triple base all.
just for gas.
Yeah, just for gas or larva.
Oh, I see. Okay, that makes sense then. Okay. Yeah. So that's point number 3 then for me.
Yep.
Okay. I think just expanding on what we were saying, like you were saying that you kind of did a build like that and you were bad. You weren't that good at executing it, and that's why you stopped. And so, that was kind of the same situation I was in when I was first trying to do one barracks fast expands. I couldn't really do it right, and so I kept losing because I was doing it so ineffectively. And so, I would say that what you should do is when you find a build that you like online, or if you just want to do the one we just explained, go ahead and practice against the AI. And what you can do is you can it doesn't even have to be a hard AI. You can just practice against anyone, because all that matters is the build order. And so what you want to do is you want to go on you can either use Monkey Bot, which is an arcade where there's no enemy at all. You can just practice your build order, and then you can press enter and type restart, and it'll just restart the game, so you can do it again. You can
Oh,
either
cool.
do that, or you can go ahead and practice against the AI. And what that allows you to do is set them on economic focus.
Mhm.
Set it to whatever difficulty you're comfortable with, and then go ahead and do the build, attack the enemy, see if you can win, quickly, and then go back and look at the replay, and then you can take over at any point, and then you can practice from the points you messed up on, and then eventually you can do that over and over again until you have it. You have one perfect replay, and then start from the beginning and do it until you can do the whole build for the first 8 minutes or 10 minutes or so perfectly, and then once you can do that, you like it'll make it so your early game is really good, and then that'll just help your entire game like a lot.
Okay. Yeah, that definitely is something that I think would be good to do.
Like at one point, I think I did a one barracks fast expand literally like 40 times in a row. Just did it
Wow.
again and again and again and again and again, and it helps. It helps so much. Okay, so point number 4, Sharp Eyes.
Okay. 1 sec.
Okay.
Okay. So point number 4.
Mhm.
Okay, so point number 4: always play with a goal in mind. Whether that's not missing any injects, whether that's getting map control, or simply just saturating your bases, you always have to try to work on 1 to 2 things per game, just so that you don't overwhelm yourself with having to do everything. Whether this is in practice games or ranked games, just focus on 1 to 2 things, and then just try to do it perfectly. Also, you want to be doing benchmarks. So what I would recommend is try to get around 40 drones at the 6-minute mark. That's a pretty good benchmark for you to try to hit
40 at the what minute mark?
at the 6-minute mark.
Okay. Take note of that.
I would say that that number 5, I think. Yep. Point number 5 is just like we said it. We said it during the cast, but it's so important. And this is these are just the wrap ups of the tips. Is that just spending your minerals in general is so vitally important that so if you're in game, and you should make it a habit to look up at your mineral count throughout the game while you're playing to see how much you have. And so with Zerg, you can float a little bit more than other races because you're able to build so many units at once that it's like Zerg is a lot more reactionary. And
Right.
but you especially early game, you never want early game to have that many minerals. And then mid and late game, you really don't want more than really don't want more than like 700 minerals unless you're saving up for ultralisks or something like that. And so what I would recommend is even if you find that you have a lot of extra minerals at some point in the game, like if you look up and see that you have 1,700 minerals,
Right.
make stuff even if you don't think you necessarily need it. Like make 2 more expansions, even like 2 more expansions, or like make 2 macro hatches, or put up some more spine crawlers and spore crawlers. Just anything that'll help. Like it's like dying with a bunch of minerals is it's not going to help you after you're dead. It's just they disappear. So I would say that spending your minerals is probably the most important thing that you can do to make yourself better as a StarCraft player.
Okay.
And then point number 6, Sharp Eyes.
Point number 6. That's a tough one. We've covered a lot of points. Crucifix. Any ideas?
Well, I was thinking. I don't know how often do you utilize hotkeys?
Yeah, I have my. I was trying to get it set up so I'd have all my camera hotkeys for my different bases, but I actually
Nice.
found that very awkward to use. So I just have my hatcheries on 4 onward, and then I
Okay.
do it that way.
What I would
I have my
recommend is
army
having
on 1 through 3, and my hatcheries from 4 through 7.
I see. So
Okay.
I would recommend
Yeah.
having. I'd recommend having your hatcheries all on one hotkey.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
sorry. I have them all on 4, and then 5 onward is individual. So I hit like
oh, I
4
see.
SD to drone, and then I can select them individually from onward.
So you basically want the individual selection in case you want to build different stuff from each one, or
Uh,
like, what's the point of having them on different
Mainly
hotkeys?
so I can double tap them for like to use as a camera hotkey because I
Oh, I
it's very
see.
awkward. So
I see.
Okay.
that's probably not optimal, but it's there.
I actually have a, tip for you. With that. What is your backspace key set to right now?
I remapped that to spacebar to try that injection
Spacebar.
method. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Spacebar is actually really neat. To use. If you're on two bases.
Hmm.
Once you're on more than two bases, it gets kind of hokey. But I would definitely recommend you trying to get used to spacebar to move around your bases.
Just
Oh,
because
oh, sorry, I
it's
wasn't clear. I remapped backspace's function to spacebar for that injection method.
Oh, right. When you click on space or when you press spacebar, you'll warp to your bases, right?
Oh, just to cycle between them instead of having them on different hotkeys.
right. Instead of having to double tap like six, and instead of having to double tap 5 and 6, you would just press spacebar once, or twice depending on which base you were going to. But it's just easier, and then also you can reserve. Um, you can reserve maybe your 5 key for your evolution chambers to make sure you're getting your upgrades as often as possible, and
Mhm.
then or maybe even queens, just so it's easy to inject, or just stuff like that.
Sure.
Whatever is easiest for you. But basically, hotkeys are really important, and so if you optimize your hotkeys, then you'll just play faster, which is always better.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely have a little bit of work to go on getting that setup all figured out.
Right. Yeah, the camera hotkeys, like, I've tried to use them. They're hard to use. I know that it's the right way to do it.
Right. It's
It's
too
difficult to get used to.
for sure.
So, anyways, Sharp Eyes, I think that concludes it. I always like to ask as like a last minute thing, if you ever have any time, if you enjoyed today's coaching session, or if you have any suggestions for us in the future, like a review on nerdupgrades.com is super helpful, just because it helps us to get more coaches and allows us to do this every night.
Right.
So if you just have any time in the future, we would appreciate
Sure.
it. Awesome. So, anyways, Sharp Eyes, you want to sign us off?
Absolutely. Once again, my name is Sharp Eyes,
I'm Crucifix
and that is
Pixel.
Oh yeah.
Pixel.
My bad.
All right, it's all good.
It's all
I
good,
missed
bro.
my cue there.
And yeah, so until next time, guys,
Keep on playing.
keep on playing.
In